to this tutorial, and in this tutorial we'll be going through bottom application bar compose component. So what is bottom application bar? Okay, so let's go directly to the to the to the main concept. Okay, the bottom application bar in Compose is a material design components that sits fixed at the bottom of the screen, providing quick access to the key actions and navigation. So it's like a great way to showcase your important actions or destination in your applications. So you can think of it like a toolbar but positioned at the bottom, so it can contain various elements like buttons, menu, and even a floating action button that can be anchored to it or interact with it in a various ways. Okay, so this is the main concept that we'll be going through. So in this tutorial we'll be also going through the first we'll just going we will just understanding the what is the bottom application bar. Then we will just focusing on the implementation, specifications, guidelines, and accessibility principles that you need to follow while using material like bottom application bar in Material Design 3. Okay, the latest one in Compose. Okay, so this is the bottom application bar. As you can see here, it's all in the button. It's and you have a key navigation actions here, as you can see here. And so what's the anatomy of a bottom application bar? So the bottom application bar will be consisting of a container. Okay, so this container, it's like the overall structure that holds everything together and defines the bar shape and background. Okay, as you can see here. Then you have a navigation icon. So these are the navigation icons specified for the specific actions. Then you have action items. So these are the each action items. And so what are action items? These are the stars of the so that is like a buttons or the interactive elements that perform the key actions, right? Whenever you press here, you perform key actions or you navigate to the special functionality, you know. So then you have also trailing action items, and also you can have a floating action button here anchored. Okay, so floating action button is a special action button that can be anchored or you can interact with it with the bar. Okay, so that's the basic anatomy of a bottom application bar. So when can you use this bottom application bar? So you can use this bottom application bar when you have when your screens have more than 2 or 5 actions. Okay, so they provide a focused space for important actions without overwhelming the users. Okay, so their placement is optimized for it's optimized to be reachable easily for your users. Okay, and like it's like the main benefit of this bottom application bar is like it provides a quick action access. Okay, so for your important navigation functionalities. Okay, of your application. So important functionalities of our application can be easily navigated using this bottom application bar. So that's the main principle is to make the users easy, help them easily navigate to your important actions. Okay, of your application. So when to avoid your bottom application bar is when your application when your screens have no actions, one or no actions. Okay, so if you have a single action, it might be better used using a floating action button, and so you can avoid redundancy and visual clutter using so application with a navigation bar can avoid redundancy and visual clutter. Okay, so complex or frequently changing actions, don't use your if you have actions that are complex or frequently changing, then don't use these actions on your bottom application bar. Okay, so in this scenario you don't use bottom application bar. So some of the best practices to follow when implementing bottom application bar are like you have to prioritize your key actions, only include the most important and frequently used actions. Okay, too many actions will clutter the bar and make it less effective. Okay, so whenever you use a snack bar, like when destructive actions such as a delete are placed into a bottom application bar, the interaction should be triggered using a snack bar to confirm the action and provide access to undo it. So these are the best practices. Then you have to test thoroughly, use different screen sizes and orientation to ensure the bottom application bar remains usable and visually appealing. You can use icons and labels effectively. Icons alone can be ambiguous, so pair them with concise labels for clarity. Consider using only icons if space is limited and the icons are universally understood. Okay, like for example, the icons of a, you can see here settings, you can see icons of a notification, like the home, and you can also have a like a icon of a menu. So these are like universally recognized icons. Then you can handle state changes gracefully. If actions become unavailable or changes, like then update the button app bar accordingly to avoid displaying the disabled or irrelevant actions. Okay, so then you also have to consider the floating action button relationship. If you use a floating action button, ensure its interaction with the bottom app bar is clear and intuitive. Okay, so explore options like morphing, docking, or simply ensure adequate spacing. Okay, and also always maintain consistency, that is keep the position and appearance of your action consistent across different screens to avoid user confusion. And finally, also provide the content description for the icons and ensure sufficient color contrast for all elements, and follow the accessibility best practices or principles. Okay, so for the implementation, bottom application bar, we use the bottom application bar. As you can see here, we are using a responsive bottom application bar. It's a as you can see here, it's a experimental material 3 API. So we are using a material 3 library to implement our bottom application bar. And your bottom application bar uh, has modifiers. Obviously, container color, you can change the content color, container color, the tonal elevation, the content padding, window insects. These are, it's all about your finally the content you are passing, okay, in your bottom application bar. So what I'm doing here, if I'm checking if the screen size is large, I'm creating a responsive bottom app bar. So if I'm checking first if the screen size is large, then I have a bottom bar app bar items. So this is my bottom app bar items, which is which is a row of items of icon buttons, as you can see here. So which is like simple icons. Then you can check it out. Okay, so then your icon more action, you can also add more actions to your icon buttons. Okay, if your screen size is large. Okay, and if you have like a screen size is small, like in this case, then you can have only 2, 3, 4, 5 action items, and it's pretty simple. Then I have defined as different screen size categories, like a screen size small, medium, large. I have remembered the screen size class. If the screen size width is less than 600 dp, then it's a small size screen, whereas if the width size is less than 840 dp, then it's a medium, then otherwise it's a large screen. Okay, then finally I have implemented it here in the like a scaffold, like my bottom bar screen. Okay, so I have a responsive bottom app. I just in the scaffold you have this like uh, attribute that is called bottom bar. So you just need to pass your custom bottom app bar created. Okay, so and it's pretty simple, guys, and just pass the content here, like your bottom bar screen. Okay, so this is our content. Then we have a bottom application bar here. It's very responsive. I could show that it's responsive. Okay, as you can see here, it's responsive. It's pretty much adapting to the screen size, right? And like to the orientation change. Okay, so yeah, that's it. So so this is the implementation. um, so what's the behaviors to ensure the bottom app bar is dynamic and responsive, adapting to different contexts and user interaction while remaining accessible and visually appealing, like, right? the So whenever you have a scroll upwards or downwards, the bottom app bar can either hide completely or remain partially visible. So these are some of the uh, responsive or dynamic adaptability principles that you need to follow. Okay, like whenever you have to scroll, whenever you have to transition, whenever you scroll downwards or upwards, what you have to show, what will have you have to hide, right? Scrolling downwards, the bottom app bar can either hide completely or remain partially visible, as I told you, depending on how it's configured. Okay, so this provides more vertical space for the content, whereas if you scroll upward, the bottom app bar reappears, providing access to actions. Okay, so then also you have a transitions like fade in out. Icons, both primary and secondary, can smoothly fade in or out during scrolling or other transitions, creating a visually pleasing effect. Whereas transitions like shifting, icons can also shift their position slightly during transitions, for example moving closer together to accommodate a floating action button. And okay, so less frequently used actions can be tucked away in an overflow menu. Okay, so usually represented by three vertical dots. So this keeps the bar clean while still providing access to all the actions. Then for keyboard interactions, when a keyboard appears, for example for text input, it can temporarily cover the bottom app bar. Once the keyboard is dismissed, the bar reappears. Okay, so this is also the thing you have to be careful about. Don't attach a bottom app bar to the top of your keyboard. And similarly, finally, some of the accessibility principles that you need to follow is like users with assistive technologies like screen readers should be able to easily understand the purpose of each action items through a clear labels and content description for icons, activate actions, or navigate to new destinations using their preferred input methods, example keyboard navigation, voice commands. Yeah. And uh, like uh, uh, as I already told you about the scroll state accessibility, even when the content is scrolled and the bottom app bar is hidden or partially visible, primary actions should remain accessible. Okay, like persistent floating action button, if a floating action button is present, it can remain visible and provide access to a key actions. So users should be able to navigate through the menu options and select them using keyboards or other input methods. Okay, so you just need to focus about labeling items like color contrast, text labels, state feedbacks, icons. You need to provide meaningful content descriptions for all the icons using a bottom app bar. You need to provide a clear visual feedback for different states, example focused, pressed, disabled, to indicate the current status of the interactive elements. You need to use a clear and concise text labels for buttons and menu items, and ensure a sufficient color contrast between the text icons and the background of the bottom app bar. So this makes the elements easier to see the user with low visions. Okay, and finally you also have to ensure that all the interactive elements, button, icons, overflow menus have a sufficient large touch target size. This the recommended minimum size is 48 dp. So this helps ensures user with who with motor impairments accurately tap the desired elements. Okay, and that's it guys, and catch you up in the upcoming lecture.